You ever met someone who was maybe, let's just say a 5, 6 out of 10 on a conventional attraction scale, but there was something so charismatic about them. They put the charm on. You couldn't help but find yourself attracted. Dude, there's something about that girl. I don't know what it is. And then on the flip side, I'm sure you've seen maybe celebrities or people who are like a 9 out of 10, but their energy is so rotten, it kills the attraction altogether. He's got movie star looks, but you know, he does club baby seals. Here's the good news. A lot of energy and charisma can be taught. Most of attraction is an energy dynamic. And in this video, we're gonna go over the 10 tips that will make anyone more attractive. I'm aware that when you do a video on attraction, people automatically assume you're saying you're like the most attractive person out there. That's not what I'm saying. That's not the vibe I'm giving off. But these 10 tips have significantly helped me. I've given these tips to friends, to clients who use them, come back and they say, dude, the whole interaction changed. I want you to listen for the 1, maybe 2 that really resonate with you. Take it, try it this week. I heard a story once of a writer who was super well published. You would definitely know who he is. He would purposely just fill his weeks with doing cool, adventurous things so he had interesting things to write about. Point number 1 is to do interesting shit. When was the last time you tried a new hobby? Not to monetize it, not to like make a business out of it, not to like become the best in the world at, but just because you were curious about it. Obsessions are really great for conversations, and when you're passionate about something, that's the attraction mechanism there. Like for me, you get me going on pop punk, metalcore, hardcore, bands, drumming, I'm off. Go down a YouTube rabbit hole and geek out on something totally niche. Yeah, I went on a date with this guy and there's something about him. He went on this conspiracy rant for like 20 minutes, but he was so into it was attractive. You're just on a date freaking out about the state of the world. 2 words, hollow earth. You ever gotten into something because your partner or someone you knew or your friend was so into it? So do interesting things and you'll become interesting. This was hard for me to hear, but I'm glad someone told me. I have a thing called resting bitch face. It's where your default state, even though nothing is wrong, you look kinda pissed off and cold. Look, I'll throw up 2 examples. Nothing is wrong. I'm totally chilling, believe it or not. I'm just listening, nodding my head. Now let's compare that with this. Same state, listening, having some fun, but see how much more warm that looks? Approachable, conversational, light. What's the difference? Point number 2 is to smile. Smile. Now we're not talking here like a forced school photo shoot where your mom makes you wear this turtleneck. I don't want to wear it, mom. But that's too damn bad. Maybe an example from your life. You ever taken a photo with a partner or a friend or your family and you thought you were smiling, but then you look back at it. Justin, why do you look so angry? What? You didn't even smile. No, I did smile. I guess it just didn't translate. Even though nothing's wrong on the inside, the outside, it kind of looks like something is. When you just smile in conversations, talking to people, in photos, it conveys warmth, approachability, like you're having a good time. And who doesn't want to hang around people having a good time? Let's talk about the fit. Yes, what you wear matters. And no, I'm not saying I'm some fashion guru or the most fashion-forward person out there, but I've learned a lot and I do love this area. So I got some quick tips for you. The good news about all this is changing your appearance is like the easiest part of becoming more attractive, more confident. That's because so much of it is within your control. Especially if you're a guy, if you're just in shape, you wear good clothes, you groom yourself, you take care of your appearance, you can look pretty darn good. Here's 3 tips. First off, keep it simple. Dudes, you go out there, you get some black shirts, you get some white shirts, some grays, some neutrals, you get some dark jeans, blue jeans, dark shoes, white shoes, you're looking good. You don't need big brand labels, you don't need flashy, what's in season. Just keep it super simple and that'll get you like 80% of the way there. Second thing, get an iron or steamer. There's nothing that'll kill the fit more than going to your hamper and pulling out a dirty, wrinkled shirt. This is so simple. It's like $30 on Amazon. And third, grooming. I like, personally for me, getting a haircut every 3 to 4 weeks. My point is you don't have to take out a bank loan to look fashionable. In my 20s, I struggled with depression. If you've been there, you just lay in bed, there's not much you want to do, like your energy feels low. I started putting on stand-up comedy specials. Love comedy. And what I realized is by the end of the hour, I was laughing so much I didn't feel depressed. I got that Netflix notification, "Are you still watching?" so many times. That's Netflix's passive aggressive way of saying like, "Buddy, you good? You need a hug? How we doing?" It's like impossible to hold this like negative emotion and a super positive one at the same time. It's like an on-off switch, right? And so when I was turned on to the laughter and the high vibe, I didn't feel that low vibe anymore. I don't think we laugh enough in today's world. Everyone's so serious and doom and gloom, and there's always things negative we can focus on. And so if you're able to laugh more with people or get people to laugh, you raise them up. And when people feel lifted up, especially in a world that's just so easy to like depress you and bring you down with everything going on, that's addictive. And they'll want to be in that high vibe state, and you're gonna be charismatic and magnetic. Look at the research on laughter. Improved immune system, lower stress, and when you're laughing, it even releases endorphins that act as natural painkillers for you. Anthropologists, whoever studies how we evolved, they say that laughter was actually a bonding mechanism with groups. It is hardwired in us to bond with people we're laughing and having a good time with. Don't repress your laughter. Don't say, "Oh, that's funny, but I gotta be serious." It's okay to be a bit more relaxed, goofy, chill. Get in the frame of whoever has the most fun wins. I'll tell you about these in a second for this next point. If you Google this topic we're talking about, how to become attractive, I guarantee the first thing that comes up is what? Confidence. You ever thought of just being confident? You know, just act confident. That's attractive. Here's what I've learned. Confidence comes through competence. It's very hard to be confident in things that you know nothing about. I believe that self-confidence comes through self-competence, knowing yourself. People who are self-aware got a vibe about them. And you're like, well, how do I develop self-awareness? Coaching, therapy, living life, taking lessons in. One thing that's helped me, keeping a journal. This is just 5 years of it, but I've been doing this for over a decade. We have videos on the channel if you want to go deeper on our method. And self-awareness is really two things. The first is knowing about yourself, like the positives, your beliefs, your stories. How do you know your beliefs are true? What do you believe that others might disagree with, right? But it's also knowing your flaws and where you have areas to grow in still. Maybe you can be too overbearing at times with over-enthusiasm, or maybe you're too intense, or maybe you hold others to unrealistic standards. Whatever it is doesn't matter as much as that you just know what it is. And in that way, journaling has definitely helped in my self-confidence. Here's something we can all probably agree on. Is there anything worse than going out with a group of friends and there's one friend who gets invited? Maybe they're not your friend, maybe they're a partner, maybe they're a brother or a cousin or something. There's someone in the group who hogs the mic. Literally every single time they bring a conversation back onto them. You just got back from Italy? Well, I went 5 years ago and I noticed you can see people's eyes glaze over, just like, oh man. Not trying to be rude, but we've all had that interaction. The worst part about it is they don't listen to you when you talk. They're just waiting for their turn to speak. Oh, you're still talking? Okay, can you finish up so I can talk? What's the opposite? Because if you do the opposite, that's good. Asking people questions. Literally, just asking questions. Doing the opposite of the mic hold is releasing the mic back to someone else. Now, I'm not saying here you turn it into an interview or you turn it into a podcast where they're your guest, but I used to tour in a band and one of the guys in there would go to these venues. And every time we went, the stagehands, we'd go back, the stagehands would be like, dude, is that guy with you? Like, where is he? Oh, we love him so much. And all he did was ask them questions. It was like you were the only thing that mattered when he was talking to you. So experiment with this and start asking some questions. You ever gotten a text from someone and it says like, what time are you coming home? And maybe you read it, what time are you coming home? Well, why are they yelling at me? So much of communication is sub-communication, body language. Take two people side by side. One super low confidence, super low vibe. How are they gonna behave body language wise? Hunched over, breathing shallow. This is what I call the iPhone posture. They're literally depressing themselves. Now take the other person. Confident, having fun, not thinking too much into things. What is their body language like? Fluid, relaxed, chill. Before YouTube videos, there's a lot of times where I feel like I'm too stiff, right? And I come on and I want to deliver it and I'm just like this and RBF kicks in and everything like this. Again, nothing's wrong, it's just the intensity coming through. What I have found make a massive night and day difference is this tip with content. Like before videos, I will literally just like that, shake it out, get loose, get playful. That vibe is so much more fun to watch. Another weird tip here for you. You like these weird ones? I think they stick with you more. I was hanging out with one of the guys I used to follow a lot in my early 20s. His name is Elliot Hulse. He had something that stuck with me when I was in my early 20s, I heard him say. He says, you should breathe into your balls. If you ever find yourself getting tense and your body language closing up, breathe so deeply, like your diaphragm, and then go lower. 2, 3 of those breaths, and tell me you don't feel different. Literally, do it right now as I'm talking. Just, you start to chill out more, you start to relax, loosen up. It's game changing. Isn't it funny how dogs know their own names? Or they know selective words? Walk, play, treat. Even though they can't understand English, they understand their own name. Because you've called them that so many times, it's their identity and they view it as them. This tip is to say people's names. As Dale Carnegie said in his book almost 100 years ago, How to Win Friends and Influence People, remember that someone's name is the sweetest sound in any language. Don't overdo this. Don't just like say someone's name over and over and over again. That's creepy. But a good rule and tip here is try and say someone's name 3 times in the first 3 minutes of meeting them. This has served me very well. Don't be the person who's like, I'm so bad with names. What's your name again? That's very unattractive. It's like, oh, this person doesn't care about me. But you flip that and someone remembers your name and you only said it like 1 or 2 times. Don't you feel like they're paying attention and care about you and you're seen by them? Don't write that one off. Seriously, try it this week and let me know. This one's something we're probably all guilty of. In 2019, I remember this. I was looking through my Instagram and I just remember thinking like, who is this guy? Like, I don't talk like that. I don't pose like that. What am I doing? Posting on Instagram kind of became embarrassing. You ever relate to that? Like you post something and you're just kind of like, oh man. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself here, but now looking back on the cringe IG days, I realized that it was a false persona because I thought that person was more likable than the true me. And my fear was if I was authentic and vulnerable or the authentic version or real, that somehow that would be less likable. So cut all those parts out and just put on this facade. Until I did a test of what if I just post what feels good, natural, how I actually talk, how I actually look, how I actually behave. People started reaching out like, dude, I feel like your energy's shifted. And so this point is to be real. Authenticity can't be taught because by definition, that wouldn't be authenticity. It can only be felt. And when you're authentic, you're able to be vulnerable. Now, I'm not saying vulnerability is like you just meet someone, nice to meet you, I have a borderline drinking problem. With vulnerability and authenticity, you allow connection to happen because connection happens around the rough edges. Haha, I got a prop for you right here. This battery has Velcro on it. See that? These rough edges, that's how it connects, right? Versus 2 things that are really smooth, there's nothing to grip onto. You can't connect. If we're too polished and we're too fake, like we're wrapped up in plastic and sterile, there's nothing for people to latch onto, to grip to connect to. So when you're actually more vulnerable and authentic and you, people can connect and form deeper connections with you, and that's what makes you attractive. If you ask people what they find attractive, one of the most common responses is gonna be what? I want someone who's intelligent. Well, think about what people are saying when they say intelligence. Are they saying like, man, it was so dreamy. He recited the Pythagoras theory and the quadratic equation and my heart melted. I don't think that's what they're really saying. I think what some people mean by intelligence is emotional intelligence. Your EQ, not your IQ. It's very underrated. How are you when things get heated? You lash out, you blame, or do you keep your cool and have a level head about things? Tips I got from a therapist on this with communicating emotions that are really good. First, the wrong way. You wanna stay away from accusatory. You always, you never. Instead, try and stick to 3 things: your wants, feelings, and needs. because no one can argue with what you want, you feel, or you need. If you're someone who can keep your cool when the storm gets choppy, that's very attractive. If you're into these sort of social tips, confidence tips, what I'll do now, I'll link up a video right here. It's on 4 social secrets, and there's a few that we talked about here, but it's always good to review. And these will make you attractive AF as well. This video has over 1.5 million, somewhere around there, views, so people seem to like it, and I think it's a good follow-up after this. I'll see you in that video.